Catherine first.
Yeah. If they do not ban Sky, they're going to lose the Okay, they ban Baptiste. This is really bad for SaltyPotatoes. They need to take the Sky now because Sky with Lyra is what Qlash just excelled on. And they're going to counter this Grace really hard unless SaltyPotatoes has a plan for this Sky Lyra combo that Qlash likes to play. Qlash on A side normally likes to ban Idris. Arden and Baptiste is normally like their bans on that side. So I think with Idris still being up, they may just ban him out and not give them the Idris Grace combo, or they may take away something that's good into Sky, maybe like Grumpjaw Grace, Koshka Grace potentially. Let's see what Qlash decides here, or maybe even Samuel. They don't want to give that Samuel Grace kind of sustained combination.
And you can see there the stats of the Sky. 53.8% win rate, so above average, I guess, is if you say 50% is the average, but they obviously when you pair it with the Lyra and certain teams have a much higher win rate with it than others. Qlash is a team that really likes it, but they're gonna be taking the Samuel off the board, so. Now, SaltyPotatoes, are they going to go for the Sky just to deny it?
They're going to go with Kestrel, and then they're going to give Qlash their Sky Idris combo that they play. So I think most likely they'll probably play Idris with Sky. Weapon laners wise, they can even do potentially Glaive, because Glaive is really good into Kestrel. Or they can do Gwen if they do play Gwen to kind of counter the Kestrel active camo with the Gwen buckshot reveal. So there's a lot of options, but I'm pretty confident Sky is going to come out on the side of Qlash here. And then the weapon power laner, they will pick what they feel is the best into this current picks from SaltyPotatoes.
Yeah, Idris still available, although it's not the greatest going straight into Grace.
Scarf instead. They're going to switch it up.
So,
wow.
I mean, Scarf is something we have seen a lot of in the European Vainglory, and it's something that's been incredibly strong. Usually paired with an Arden, but definitely strong in its own right as well.
Yeah, it's one of those picks that just scales incredibly well into the late game. They're going to grab the Idris as well. So unbelievable late game power coming out from Qlash. And with the Grace Kestrel, they obviously they're going to have to be very wary of the damage coming out of the Kestrel. Whether the Kestrel goes weapon or crystal. I would like to see it be a weapon Kestrel, just to be able to drop into that active camo if she gets jumped on by the Idris. And so hopefully this will be a crystal jungler that they're going to go for as their final pick.
Probably Sky. I mean, honestly, Sky would be great against Scarf. Can reposition against an Idris. Is good into Lyra. But they're going with the CP Blackfeather, or maybe Weapon Blackfeather and a CP Kestrel. Again, CP Kestrel is not that good into a Lyra because Lyra is a queen of poke composition.
SaltyPotatoes have two very excellent Blackfeather players. Sneaky is renowned for his Blackfeather, but of late it's been going on to the Joker, and he's been able to perform with it just as well. So there really is a lot of questions until they get loaded into the game. You're not really going to know who is going to take which
Probably
hero.
Weapon Kestrel, CP Blackfeather, though, I believe.
All right, so you'd assume with a composition like that, it's going to be a lot about the poke, but the Lyra on the other side, is that going to be too much for this kind of poke composition to deal with, or am I misanalyzing that as a poke comp?
I don't know, it's definitely going to be very reliant on the poke, which will allow the Lyra to heal it up, but it's a different style of poke. It's a style of poke where you land the poke, and then once that poke lands, like as long as you hit it, then you go all in. And so that's going to be the key here for SaltyPotatoes, is being extremely decisive upon going in once that poke connects.
All right, we'll see whether they're going to be able to follow up on that and make these team fights happen. It's time to jump into our second semi-final. Let us know who you are supporting in this one. It's SaltyPotatoes up against Qlash. Hashtag Vainglory on Twitter, and make sure to tag the team and let them know that you're giving them your support. But let's pass it over to our casters once again to get into semi-final number 2.
As mentioned, super important matchup here for SaltyPotatoes, the only of the bottom 3 teams currently in the European League to make it to day 2 in week 2. And they're able to take this series, and they may just find themselves in 6th position and a chance to hold that and make it towards the Unified Western Live Championships. Of course, for Team Qlash, formerly Rising Lotus, here AJ, they are looking to secure that spot as well. A lot higher up in the standings, but a win here will guarantee it, I believe.
You know, that was beautiful, Dalsy, but SaltyPotatoes, that is a team name I am not familiar. Is it like the Jay Giles band? Like, he's named the team after himself?
Yeah. So in Europe, we have SaltyPotatoes, and we have Leon Reborn.
Reborn.
Just some casual.
Careful, by the way.
He does have fun.
Actually, Joker's here. Maybe they can actually be kind of threatening to I don't think Agony...
If they steal this... Ooh, they stole it. Qlash got it as well. Oh, this is dangerous. Agony's in trouble. Joker with the first blood, and that's going over to Sneaky Potatoes. HF guy will escape, but look at the rest of the rotation. Mercilli's so pushed up in the lane, they're going to look to try and punish that. At least Qlash is going to push into the lane whilst the Joker deals with this central trio.
Man, that's a lot of pressure coming out of Qlash already. Grace is very difficult to deal with in the early game. I like how she's just usurped Lyra for that position. Lyra used to be queen of the jungle in the early game, but now Grace is really taking over. Lyra is mostly focusing on just playing back, playing safe. That being said, Qlash, as I mentioned earlier, does have to be careful not to overextend. Let's talk about the comps as a whole real quick. Dalsy, both you and I in the pregame were like, it'd be cool if we saw a weapon Blackfeather, but we did not. We're seeing the Crystal Blackfeather in the jungle. This does seem to be the preference of a lot of players right now, and I can certainly understand why. It feels good to hit on point onto like 2 people for like 600 damage. But we've actually seen a pretty crazy amount of missed on points in the last day or so. I do always worry when I see the Crystal Blackfeather because it's such a linear pick. You know, it does a lot if you land your on points. It does basically nothing if you miss them.
Yeah, no, it's certainly true, and you know, I've seen Joker putting the pressure on towards this Scarf. Which is fantastic. Qlash just moves in, knocks up and body blocks. The on point won't be able to... Oh, it might be able to find the kill, but they don't have vision onto Agony. Meanwhile, Mercilli's is able to just put the pressure in the lane, try and keep Sneaky under turret. Bit of a CS lead for the Idris here, but HF guy, I don't know what he was hoping to achieve there, goes down very simply to Qlash.
Yeah, a bit overly bold. You know, I got to admire the discipline of the Joker, by the way. He, when Holy Nova landed onto Agony, had a free kill, but he decided to take the train instead. That is discipline. That's a professional player right there. I could not have done that. I would have gone for the kill. But yeah, early game.
This is the second time you've compared yourself to pro players in a sense that you're not definitely a pro player.
I'm a realist, you know? Those who can't do teach, like, you know, they coach teams, and those who can't teach cast. No, that's how it rolls. Downhill.
There you go. I'm trying to fight my way up that hill. We'll have to see how that goes.
You're doing a good job. You're VG, right?
Yeah, at the moment. Let's talk about these teams. The one reason, you know, just going back to your earlier point, AJ, about the reason why Blackfeather in the lane as a weapon power may have been more successful, though Joker 1v2ing Agony. He's going to go down. He can't escape. The on point misses, but it does not matter. Holy moly, the damage that Joker has is insane because he's been able to snowball. He is so close to finishing his Shadow Glass as well. The one reason why I considered that weapon power Blackfeather could have been better is just because it's pretty good into Idris. But if Sneaky keeps his range and in fact is really quick at repositioning with his active camo after he gets the Sorrow Blade completed and can go instantly into it, then perhaps this works out pretty well. I think that CP Blackfeather can only be good into Idris if you are if the Idris is not in a position where he can go proactively into the backline. But by shutting down Agony super hard in the early game and doubling the amount of gold income that he has, getting a huge amount of CS over him, as well as experience, you actually are shutting down Qlash's ability to do anything proactively, and in that turn, shutting down the Idris.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting the point that we talked about yesterday with the Jungle Scarf, I believe, Dalsy, where this is a pick that clears quite quickly and, you know, gets a lot out of the gold from doing so. Also gets a lot out of the levels, but if you're behind, Scarf is going to do less than a lot of other heroes, and also can be punished and snowballed against very easily. You see Joker taking away that Treant yet again.
It's a 2-level lead. At the moment.
It's insanity. Like, Agony is not in this game right now. Straight up. Like, he is basically doing nothing. Joker is 1 versus 2ing their jungle. This is getting scary.
Can Mercilli's do anything? No, because Joker is just... He's also gone into defense, and this is so smart from Joker. Just 1 tier of shielding and armor, but it's enough. in the early games just to cut down the damage output. I think it's 20% damage reduction very early on it can provide in its specific field, and it just allows Joker to be able to make these aggressive moves and not fear. Keeps him ahead of the people who are struggling. Sneaky doing a lot of work to Massili's in the lane. It's a 2 versus 3 as far as like people are concerned, but if Sneaky keeps his distance, then he can keep them at bay.
Yeah, it's a good point. Right now, SaltyPotatoes is just in such a dominant position. You can see the Joker constantly moving up. He isn't able to get that Treant, but I like the fact that he was going for it. He's doing so much damage already. How do you even deal with this is the question. I think that, honestly, Qlash, they've just got to play extremely slowly. They got to turtle. They got to play safe. You know, doing anything... Whoa. Okay. Doing anything other than just farming safely is probably not going to pan out. I wonder what you think. I almost see some rationale in swapping Agony into the lane. Just because the Scarf does less than the Idris, I think, without gold, and right now he's not getting gold.
Yeah, no, I think that if you wanted to focus on just pure gold income, then that's certainly a thing. But, you know, one of the reasons we see Scarf in the jungle is purely for the experience that he can get from the jungle. Rush towards that level 12, get your overdrives there. Does finally finish his Frostburn at 7.5 minutes. It's pretty slow. Massili's needs to keep up on gold as well. On this Idris, his build, the Sorrow Blade, Poison Ship, Tension Bow, doesn't cost too much compared to other weapon power builds, but it's all about getting those defensives online as well. Idris, a deceptively squishy hero, actually, hasn't got a huge amount of health.
He makes up for it in slipperiness. You know, that's the Idris
and shielding
thing,
as
right?
well.
Yeah, you're able to dodge around a lot. You've got your ultimate to kind of piece out of a fight for a little while. There are certainly ways you make up for that intrinsic problem. But SaltyPotatoes, I think they are quite easily going to be able to deal with that a lot of the time. You know, the Joker just needs to be very disciplined, I think, on the trigger finger with on point. You got to make sure you're not firing it off into a situation where Massili's just dodges and you're not doing anything for a while. Because, I mean, this is the one thing to realize about the Joker and where he is in the game right now. Although he has been really dominating and is very ahead, the moment he misses an on point, it's a noticeable cooldown. You know, 3 seconds is not insignificant. During that downtime, Merciless can jump on a Sneaky, find a kill, for example. There's ways that Qlash can capitalize on the pick, you know, if Joker doesn't play this perfectly. All that gold is only going into basically the one ability.
Yeah, Joker currently just sitting off the side here, doing a lot of poke damage. The side of Qlash. Yeah, struggling to stay healthy despite the fact having a Lyra. Massili's pops his ultimate. In fact, did he miss the fountain as well? I believe he may have, getting the heal just from the sigil alone. So HF guy, a little bit of a mistiming, the communication of when to use that fountain when Shimmer Strike is available. And Joker's just continuing to do what he's been doing this entire game. On points from the side, putting the pressure on. The one shot will jump into Massili's, and Massili's is going very low. This turret under siege, almost dead. They're going to be able to secure it here simply. SaltyPotatoes, 2,000 gold up, and they are looking good.
They're looking very good, and they're doing a good job of utilizing their lead to take objectives rather than just going for kills. It's not too difficult to get into the mindset when you're under the turret that with Blackfeather and Kestrel you can just poke out your opponents and either you get a kill or they have to back. But what they did was like split their poke. So they put Blackfeather onto enemy hero duty and Kestrel onto turret duty, and they kind of took both down simultaneously and made Qlash make a decision. And there was no good answer, right? So I like that a lot. You know, they're playing to their lead very smartly. They're trying to find the windows given to them. Itemization-wise, it is worth noting that Agony is not hugely far off picking up a second item, and I also think it's worth noting that he's going for probably a Broken Myth second, which is actually kind of interesting. Like, you know, not infrequently when you're at this much of a deficit, it can feel like you need to get something that'll keep you alive, like an Eve. Mm-hmm. But I actually think Broken Myth makes a lot more sense. Because you need to actually be able to kill SaltyPotatoes, and with how little gold you're getting, now is probably your best bet of finishing Broken Myth and actually doing damage.
Yeah, like I guess a quick start guide for anyone trying to work out, should I build Eve or Broken Myth? Most times Broken Myth's better, but really it comes down to what's the enemy doing and what are you doing? Are you wanting to team fight? No. Really, Qlash don't want to team fight. Are you being forced to team fight? Well, yeah, we are. And so because they're being forced to team fight, the Broken Myth is necessary so that they can actually team fight. Another fight is breaking out, but it's not looking good for Qlash. The Dragon's Breath coming out, but it's just not doing any damage. Joker has an Aegis. The one shot will connect. No, it was just him coming through. There it is. I'm a future teller, I guess. An HF guy will go down as well. It's an ace for SaltyPotatoes, as clean as they come. And they are going to look to take a second turret for it.
Really nice stuff there from SaltyPotatoes. I think that it was partially Agony being so split from his team that caused the issue, but also partially Mercilli's committing in a way that he couldn't afford to onto Sneaky with the ultimate. Sneaky just ran away, and Qlash's team was like, sorry, Mercilli's, we're not following. There's no way that we're going to be doing that one. But that ends up being an ace and a second turret picked up for SaltyPotatoes. This is what gold leads are made of. They're sitting at quite a substantial one right now.
Ace.
Kraken is still 2.5 minutes away. So in terms of things remaining on the map for the side of SaltyPotatoes to leverage, it is starting to get a little bit more difficult for them to find openings. I'd say, though, that they are probably strong enough just to siege the tier 3 turret.
Yeah, we do see now that the Broken Myth's finished for Agony, but Joker with that Aegis pick, I was curious as to the Aegis pick because I didn't quite know exactly why Joker would want to prioritize shielding, considering how far behind Agony is on his item builds. It's so that he can just stand there in the Dragon's Breath and tank it all up and not actually feel threatened whatsoever. He did accidentally buy an Eclipse Prism. I did spot it. Really wanted to go towards a Piercing Shard instead, so Joker going to be slightly behind on his build. Bit of gold wasted.
That could actually matter too, because there is an Aegis on Mercilli's, and there is shield beginning to be bought on Agony, so that might matter. Right now, though, I think Sneaky is doing enough damage that it might not. Sneaky, we haven't talked about him much this game, but he is 2 for 0. He's got 150 farm. He's solidly over the 10 per minute mark.
There's his 4th damage item.
Yeah, he's definitely, like, Joker bridged the gap to the late game, but now we're at the late game. I think it's a Sneaky go, to be honest.
They are going in for another team fight here as well, and look at Joker just diving forward. Very aggressive, on point connecting. He is just doing so much work. There's the kill going over to Sneaky. Mercilli's looking to try and get in there, but he gets stunned, knocked up, and taken on down. A second kill for Sneaky. They're going to charge forward and look for HF Guy, and HF Guy is going to struggle to escape. Qlash goes forward, gets the movement speed, but look at the damage coming out of Joker. An ace comes through for SaltyPotatoes, and now they are going to look to just take down this choke point turret with ease. The perfect game for them currently on the cards.
Man, Sneaky's damage to objectives is crazy. It's not dissimilar, to be honest, to like a Weapon Grumpjaw at the height of that pick. Just, pummeling the turrets. With 3 down before Kraken, I think any Kraken push is likely to just be lethal for the side of SaltyPotatoes. And I don't see them not just kind of immediately going towards it. Like, the later you wait, the more likelihood that Agony becomes relevant. So, literally on Kraken spawn, I would just go and try and take it. You'll probably win a fight. It doesn't seem like a productive thing to do to drag this game out for SaltyPotatoes.
Now they're going to start it up, it seems. Yep, going straight for it. They don't have a huge amount of vision, actually. They have flares, and that is about it. So it will be the flares to spot out when Team Qlash arrives.
What?
If they do arrive, never mind.
Where'd it go?
Very quick. It's that crit build from Kestrel, I guess, just doing work. Broken Myth, now finished for Joker as well. He can purchase that, unless he decides to refresh the infusion. Nope, going for the Broken Myth. Here we go. This is perhaps the beginning of it all for SaltyPotatoes and their bid for 6th place.
Look at this. I mean, they're 9 for 0 right now. Flawless game so far. Qlash is backs against the wall, trying urgently to defend. Trying to think of maybe if there's any tactical things they can do here to give them a bit of an edge. I do think they need to stay somewhat split, but it's going to be tough. I think Mercedes needs to focus on keeping Agni safe with HF Guy. You know, try and play around that brokenness scarf. Gonna be hard to get chunked like that, though.
They're going straight forward. Masili's trying to get in. He's going to get stunned up, but look at the damage coming out of Agony. Starting to do some work. Sneaky surviving. Divine Intervention, and Merciless will go down. That's the Echo finding so much use. One shot onto Agony. Joker will finish the job. In fact, it's classed. Carry classed. Full speed ahead. Choo-choo. It's SaltyPotatoes pulling up into the station with a Game 1 win over Team Qlash.
Incredible game from SaltyPotatoes. They made this Crystal Blackfeather work so well. Can't really blame them for the pick, even though we were talking about maybe Weapon Blackfeather being something we'd like to see prior to the game. Heading into game number 2, I do think that there's a Grace pick that should be considered as a ban, maybe by Qlash. And also, Kestrel felt like she did a lot of work. So whatever happens, the draft needs to change. It's just, you know, which bit did Qlash feel the worst about?
Well, we will find out very shortly, AJ, as the players with a bit of time to figure out how they take down SaltyPotatoes. In that time, we will be